All right, guys, welcome back to the ZI Show with your host, ZIs. Today, I got an awesome episode planned out. So I know that a good percent of my audience is in middle school, high school, or elementary school. Like we're still in school, right? And what better way to learn about entrepreneurship than from a principal himself? So let's welcome Dr. Nichols to the stage.
Hey Zohar,
Hello.
thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. So, how's your day today?
Today's been a pretty good day. I like to say we make it better than good.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So, we're just gonna start out. Let's tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Dr. Rick Nichols. I am a principal here at Stacey Middle School. This is roughly my 22nd year in education. I actually started at Stacey over 20 years ago as a teacher's aide in a classroom supporting students with disabilities, and kind of just from there fell in love with the career. I was in college at the time, thought I was going to be an attorney, and I found a job that I loved and had a passion for and decided to become a teacher. And from there, working here, I worked my way up as a teacher, worked my way from teaching as a head coach in water polo and swimming, got into administration as a dean of students, high school assistant principal, and back here to my home, Stacey Middle School, which is my second year back at Stacey.
Awesome. So, here on the ZI Show, we're big about entrepreneurship, like how to grow a business, how to start a business. So, what entrepreneurial skills do you think are the most important for middle school students?
So I think part of just the overall learning that occurs at school is, very important for middle school students if they're going to become an entrepreneur, right? Having skills to like analytical thinking, right? That higher level thinking, to analyze text, to listen to conversations. But truthfully, I think one of the most important skills is speaking, being able to take all that information that students learn through conversation, through teaching, through reading, and have a discussion about it. One of the great things about school in general is it kind of helps you develop what I think in business is called those soft skills, right? Being able to deal and work with different people and different personalities is one of those like soft skills. Like when you transition from elementary to middle school, right? You went from having one teacher or one boss to now you have six teachers, and so six different bosses you've got to work for, and six different group of students. So now you see about 180 kids in a class a day. So being able to work with those different people, those different personalities, and last but not least, technology. It's ever changing, and having students have more and more access to technology and apps, I think are important to kind of gain those skills.
So a fun thing I like to ask everybody that's on my podcast is, what is your first job? Because a lot of people have different first jobs, and it's just funny and really interesting to hear.
My first job was a lifeguard when I was a sophomore in high school over at Knott's Berry Farm, Soak City, the very first year that Soak City opened up. I was a lifeguard there, and I held that job for about 2 months.
Whoa, oh, I would never think that. Soak City and not very far. I was there this summer. It's so fun there.
Yeah.
So what like everybody has road bumps, right? Everybody has blocks. Like the road to success is not always perfect. So like, can you tell me one road bump that you had and how did you handle it?
You know, it's difficult to say. I think with road bumps, it's important to kind of learn from those. So I think the biggest road bump I had to deal with when I was a high school assistant principal. At the school, we had two different roles of support for students in the guidance office, and I oversaw the guidance office. We had school counselors and we had academic advisors. The academic advisors supported kids with their day-to-day classes, their schedules, and the school counselors helped students with all of their social emotional issues or needs, right? And we mid-year did a transition where we were going to sunset or basically terminate the academic advisor position and move them all to school counselor positions. And so that change and having to work with the people and how that change affected them, and then adjusting to their new roles and responsibilities was a challenging time. And what I learned from that is people matter, and listening to their needs and how change affects them. And so one thing I kind of have taken from that lesson is it's always important to kind of sit back before you make any decision, get input, talk to people, listen. Listen is one of the most important things, because that change, how it affects one person, some people were very excited. They got a raise, they got a promotion. Other people were very sad because the job that they did for 10, 20 years changed. And that was my biggest challenge I've had.
Yep, that's for sure, and it happens everywhere. The path to success, like I said, is not always going to be a smooth road. So there's another interesting question I have that I like to ask who I'm interviewing. It's if you had $1,000, like you just woke up and everything was gone, so you had to restart with $1,000.
Okay, restart. I only got $1,000, and the question is, it was a little feedback. Is the question, what would I do?
Yeah, so it's like, what would you do with your $1,000? Would you go start a new business, or would you invest into something?
It's a great question.
It's interesting. I've had so many different answers, from like going and starting a new business to going and working at another business, or like just creating reoccurring revenue. It's like there's so many different answers, and I know it's tough because it's like there's so many different things you can do, there's so many things that you want to do, but like something that will help you to continue for years and years, and like yeah.
Okay, so it's an interesting question. I'll be very blunt and honest. I always joke with my friends that are entrepreneurs that I don't have an entrepreneurial bone in my body. I've always worked for a school or a district and kind of have been that person. But I think if I had $1,000, what I would do is I would invest it in things that I can kind of buy low and flip to start to build that revenue. So thinking like thrift shopping, finding some kind of I like motorcycles and hot rods. I have an old car at home and I have some dirt bikes. I think I would try to buy a motorcycle that needed some work done to it, right? That I could easily do that work myself and fix it up, and then try to turn that for a profit and try to just continue that cycle of investing in another project and trying to flip it until I can build that amount of growth or revenue I would need to start maybe a mechanic business or a hot rod business.
Yeah, I mean, motorcycles are really cool, man. Like they're just so fun, and like I like to see the different types of them, like different types of motorcycles. So here's something about education. Like schools have changed in the past hundreds of years. Like 100 years ago, there wasn't necessarily as clubs as we have today. Like at Stacey, we have so many different clubs to choose from. So where do you see the future of education going in like 10 years? What do you think might happen?
I see a lot of the education kind of shifting to what I'm going to call like those higher level thinking questions. So at Stacey, we like to call that Costa's levels. I used to refer to it as DOK levels, depth of knowledge. And it's really trying to get those higher level thinking skills, those critical analysis and those discussions, right? We have so many apps and things available to us. A big thing are what we're doing right now in the districts is we're trying to start to look at how to use AI with the students, right? I'll be honest, a year and a half ago, I never had used AI. Now I almost use it every day, every other day, as I do my work, and it helps me expedite my work. But it's important to be able to look at that and analyze what it provides to you, right? So I think education is going to shift to more of that analyzing and analytical thinking. And, because there's going to be things that can be done for us, but we've got to make sure that they're done correctly, done right. And we've got to go through it and analyze it to make sure it's what we intend it to be for.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like artificial intelligence has progressed so much. Like a website I use a lot, make.com, it's crazy how much it can do for everybody. Like it connects hundreds of over 1,000 apps, and it can make it can literally make podcasts with artificially generated voice and texts and everything. And it can literally post it for you. Like it's crazy how much artificial intelligence has progressed. And I think it's definitely going to be something that we're going to start seeing a lot in the next 5 years is artificial intelligence in multiple businesses. Like at Legoland, they don't use they don't have people at the front of burger stands anymore. They have a machine that you can talk to and it takes your order. It's crazy how like what's changing with AI. So I feel like it's something that's fun to use, something that is definitely valuable to have. Um, and I think that that's really true. So, what
Mhm.
advice do you have to like the next generation of
So the next generation, I think it's important to just really go out there and try things. You never know, especially in business, if you're going to be successful, if the business is going to failure or be a failure, right? My understanding is it takes 10 different businesses sometimes for people to find that one, that growth, that success, or even more. um, there's a great book I read that I use a lot, especially even in education, by an author named Carol Dweck. It's called A Growth Mindset, and it's being able to really look at those challenges or those things that happen and look at them as opportunities to grow, to get better, to learn from them, right? And so I think in business, it's going to be very important for entrepreneurs to have a growth mindset and to learn from each business, to learn from each success, each mistake as you refine and make it better the next time.
Yes, I was about to ask you what's like a big book that has impacted you because books are an important thing. And another important thing is mentors. Do you have somebody that's helped
I do, yeah. So having a mentor is so very important. I have a mentor who's a friend of mine. At one point, he was my boss, and we've developed a very close relationship in our journey together. We've both gone in different directions, but we stay in touch. And as things go on throughout the year, he's someone I know I can trust and rely upon to call and just give me great advice. In any business, in any world, I always find it's the relationships that matter, right? You never know where you may end up be. I didn't never thought I would be back home, what I call home now, at Stacey. And those relationships you develop wherever you're at are so important. So I do have a mentor I call upon and talk to. Also, even here, like at middle school, we have what we refer to as a guiding coalition, and that's essentially a group of teacher leaders on campus. And I meet with them on a regular basis to discuss next steps, things that we're looking at, initiatives. And it's important to not just have that mentor I go to, but have leaders within our own organization here, and gathering their input, their feedback throughout the entire decision making process. Because I find, as a leader, as the principal, it's very important that I never make a decision in a silo. I don't make the decision and just tell everyone this is how it is, right? I'm the principal, do what I say. No, it's important to gather all of this important feedback from teachers, people who are working in and day out, and how it could affect them, how any change could affect them. So having those mentors is so important, but also having the people that are in the field day to day and a little group of those leaders and gathering their input, I think, is equally important.
Yeah, and I like what you said about feedback because having thoughts or ideas, even if you don't put them to use, are worth so much. Like you can have one idea that can completely change everything. And I just want to say, man, Stacy is a great school. We have so many clubs, electives, and the teachers are just great. And it's just so important to have as a student, especially going through middle school, because everybody is awesome. So I just want to say thank you for your time. you so much for being on my podcast. This was a great interview.
No, I appreciate it, Zohar. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
We're loving every day here at Stacey.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. I am also releasing a course soon on make.com and the future of automation, which is crazy, but it's going to be a 4-episode course on how to use make.com and how AI can help you with your everyday